Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Nintendo Fanboyz. I believe we're at episode 59 today. I'm gonna be soloing this one. I think it's been probably over a year since I haven't done one of these podcasts alone, but Jared and I had made arrangements for today, which is Thursday the 5th at 12, but Jared, like he usually does, just couldn't make his own arrangement. So I'm gonna be doing this all by myself, so you could expect a shorter podcast, but we'll see. Sometimes I can find a way to talk about stuff for longer than usual. Obviously, there was that big Nintendo Direct yesterday that happened on Wednesday the 4th. So if you're listening to this on iTunes or whatever podcast service, you're probably gonna hear this today or tomorrow. But if you're one of our many YouTube listeners, you'll hear this on Sunday. So it will have been a few days since that Direct. But this is obviously, I'm gonna spend most of the podcast talking about the major highlights from that podcast, from that Direct. I'm obviously not going to talk about every single game announcement from that podcast, but I'm just going to talk about most of the important stuff and what really stuck out to me and what I really feel passionate about and what I want to talk about. So this is what we're going to spend the majority of the podcast today. First off, like I always do, I want to talk about the games I'm currently playing. The last podcast we did was 2 weeks ago, and there's just a little new game that I'll talk about, but the rest is just further updates from the last podcast. So first update is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I actually finished the game, and this is pretty special to me because it's the first game ever that I play from start to finish with my oldest son Elliot. So I had a blast playing that game. I think it's a very, very nice exclusive the Switch have. It's very fun and makes good use of the Marvel franchise, and it's just really well done. And I think it's a game I would have had a lot more fun, or even more fun, if I would have played it with Jared or somebody else, because that way we could have been more strategic. But c'est la vie, and I played with Elliot. It was really fun and a lot harder than it should have been because of that, but still, my only issue with the game, and I don't know if there's any way they could have solved that issue, is that's a bit anticlimactic at times because you are playing as the Hulk or Miss Marvel and stuff like that. Basically, characters that are super powerful that should basically make you win the game instantly, especially when you're fighting just regular dudes. But if that was the case, like, the game would be boring, like I said. And I thought the ending was a bit weak at the last mission when small spoilers, I guess, but it's one of those things where the Black Order has been since the beginning of the game. Every time they see you, you have to run away because they're too powerful, and for some inexplicable reason they decide you to fight all four of them. They fight you one by one, all separated, instead of fighting you all at one time, which they did all the game, but now they decided, I guess, to give you a chance, which I thought was a bit silly. But like I said, I think if that wouldn't have happened, probably don't have much of a fun game there. So that's that with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I'm also playing more Mario Maker. Can't get enough of that game. I recently made 2 more levels, I believe, this week, so I'll try to maybe in the description of this, I'll try not to forget to leave the code for these levels, the new levels that I made. And if you do get one of these, you can actually just subscribe to my Mario Maker ID, or just easily find all the other levels that I made via those codes. So I'll try to not forget it. One is one's a single screen puzzle. I've always wanted to make one of them. I'm not actually very good at puzzles, so my level is pretty basic, but it is using simple Kaizo elements like shell jumping. So I don't think it will take you very long to figure out what to do, but it might take you a while to get it because the ending of that puzzle requires a double shell jump, which even it's probably the shell jump technique that gives me the most trouble even today. Like I still have trouble nailing it down, but I'm getting much better with that. And like I said before, especially on the Wii U and now in the beginning of Mario Maker 2, when I did levels with shell jumps, like I would hit those shell jumps like 30% of the time, sometimes even less than that. And now I'm hitting them like 95% of the time. So it's something that I really enjoy doing for some reason. Most of my levels feature shell jumping. So if you're not familiar with that or you don't like that, maybe you won't like my levels. But I will tell you that if you do enjoy shell jumping and you're just not really good at it, just keep practicing. And some of my levels are particularly good for that. The last one I want to talk about is the level I just recently made, which I called Legend of the Seven Shells, which is kind of a Metroidvania-ish level. There's no backtracking to it, but there's multiple ways to solve it. And it's basically 6 shell jumps in the level, but there's 2 checkpoints in it. So there's like, it's not really difficult. Like I could probably clear that level in like 5 minutes if I played it, even less maybe, because I did have to clear check. When I did a clear check, I did have to clear the whole level in one go, of course, but it's not really hard. But I really enjoyed it. It's really fun. It's probably my best level I've made yet. So let me know in the comments section if you're curious about trying these out. If any of you are decent at the game or know how to use some I call them Kaizo light elements, because they're not my levels are not really that hard if you're just familiar with some of the lighter or junior Kaizo elements. So let me know. I'll try to remember to leave the codes of my levels on the description below. So the first one is called one single screen shell jump, and the other one is called Legends of the Seven Shells. So go ahead and try those out if you want. I'd be quite curious to know, and hopefully one day I can get proper equipment so I can stream. I would love to stream an episode and showcase all my levels and the solutions and whatnot. Some of them are pretty tough, some aren't, so we'll see. Hopefully one day I can do that. Okay, the next game I've been playing is Fire Emblem Three Houses. So right now I'm about 25 hours into the game, really enjoying it. I've slowed down on the exploring elements of it. Like that was really what was getting me not to want to play that game as much, because after every chapter you have more exploring of the school, which I really hate. So what I've been doing basically is just going and accepting and clearing the quests, and I'm not bothering going to talk to everybody, or if I find a lost item, I'll just Google it to see who it belongs to and I'll go give it to them. But even that, like, I don't go out of my way to search every room anymore, which I used to do. So that's been a lot more fun for me now, because the missions themselves are a blast. Just by the missions alone, this would probably be my favorite Fire Emblem of them all if it wasn't for the exploring. But I think I'm in the last chapter before you take off the school. So if that's true, maybe there will be less side exploring and stuff like that after, which would be fantastic. Okay, final game I've been playing, which was just released, which was announced during the Direct, is Super Kirby Clash. This was announced during the Direct and was had the classic available now thing, so you can go to the eShop and download it for free. It's kind of the same model as Pokemon Quest, which I believe came out 2 years ago or last summer, if I'm not mistaken. But it's they call it a free to start game, but I believe you can play this whole game for free. It will take you a lot longer. So what happened with Pokemon Quest was that you had the option to play and never spend a penny, although it would probably have taken you like 200 or 300 hours to clear the game. Well, if you paid the whole, I think it cost me $40 for the DLC, you could beat the game in like 40 or 50 or 60 hours, and that's what happened. So I think this is a similar situation here. The game reminds me of Kirby Battle Royale for the 3DS, in a sense that it's basically just a boss room, and you can level up, you can gain XP and buy more items. So the way this works is that if the apple tree gives you apple gems, and with those you can buy more weapons, more armor and items and stuff like that. But it only gives you a certain amount of apple gems per hour or per whatever, and you can then go and purchase with real money more apple gems and upgrade your tree, which is similar to what the Pokemon Quest offered. But I believe you could play the game as long as you want without spending a single cent. And if you enjoyed Kirby Battle Royale, or if you enjoy like little Smash, like just boss room battle games, then this is a pretty cool offering. It's free, and the only issue I have is that the online, I played one match and I'm not playing the online again. It's like Nintendo really has an issue with this because it's the same in Mario Maker. I assume Smash Brothers is not really fun to play online, although I've never played it, but I remember that in the Wii U and Wii days and 3DS days, it wasn't always that solid, and this was just ridiculous, the amount of lag there was, and it's following Mario Maker where lag was also an issue. So can't really recommend it on that, and I hope Nintendo eventually fixes their online, or at least invests in better servers or whatever they need to do to actually offer us proper online experiences. Okay, so that's what I've been playing. So now I'm just going to move to basically the rest of this podcast, which will concentrate exclusively on the Nintendo Direct announcements. So there will be many games I will skip over, many announcements. Just know that if there was a major announcement for you that I did not cover, let me know in the comments if you want to talk about it. I'm just going to quickly mention Overwatch, Luigi's Mansion 3 and Zelda Link's Awakening. Overwatch was announced during this Direct officially. It was leaked a few hours prior, so everybody knew. It was heavily rumored for a week or two now, but it's coming to the Switch, so that's a pretty popular game. That's pretty good for the Switch. I'm not really into like Fortnite or online shooters right now, but Overwatch I know is a pretty massive phenomenon, so kudos to the Switch. I'm sure some of you will be looking forward to that. Luigi's Mansion 3 looks sick. The first two games were excellent, especially the sequel, but even the 3DS port of the original was really well done, so I cannot wait for this. This will be released on October 31st, so it's on a Thursday, a rare Nintendo Thursday released, because that's when Halloween is this year, and it's a really clever release date. Really looking forward to this game. It's Luigi's Mansion is always easy game to play. You can beat it in a weekend, so this will be perfect for me. Zelda Link's Awakening, they showed more footage of it. Again, this game looks pretty good. Comes out on the 20th of this month, so just in a few weeks. And not more really to add about this game. It's going to be a pretty cool game, and can't wait for it. Alright, so the first major news for me was Little Town Hero, which is made by Game Freak, which was originally called Hero, is now called Little Town Hero, and it will be released on October 16th. From the footage we got a bit more. It looks okay. It looks like it will be a fun game. I'm definitely gonna try this because I love Game Freak, but I'm not sure if this will be that special, because it seems like it's a simple RPG with a small setting, but that was what Undertale was, and I played this year and really fell in love with it. And Toby Fox, the composer of Undertale, is actually making most of the music from Little Town Hero, so that's something to look forward to. So Little Town Hero, again, another game coming to the Switch on the 16th of October, so the Switch has a pretty solid rest of the year lineup, it seems like. The next big announcement for me was that Terry Bogard will be in Super Smash Brothers. This is actually the fourth DLC character announced, and I believe he was supposed to be released in November. I think that's what they said. November is the release date for this guy. Obviously, he's from Fatal Fury, and it was rumored that a Neo Geo character was gonna, an SNK character was gonna make it to Smash, and the rumors were true. That's what happened. It's a pretty cool announcement. Unfortunately, I don't have much nostalgia for the Neo Geo or these fighting game series, but I'm sure a lot of people must have freaked out when they saw it, especially when they they did a very cool trailer teasing a bunch of characters that were like kind of missing the envelope, which had the invitation to Smash, until Terry got it at the end. So I imagine when the rumors were true that Terry would have been the character chosen. So since I think he's pretty much the most over or popular character from SNK, but Jared could probably tell me otherwise or confirm this in the comments, because he knows a lot more about SNK and the Neo Geo and those fighting games. It was also announced that more DLC characters would be released after the fifth unannounced character, and that Banjo-Kazooie will be available now. So right after this direct, they actually had a presentation for him, and he's now available. If you've purchased the DLC pack, you can download them, although I'm pretty sure you can buy them individually too. Okay, after that there was more details on Dragon Quest 11. I believe it's called Dragon Quest 11S Definitive Edition, if I recall. There might be a subtitle, which I don't remember. So recently finished a demo of this, spent like 12 hours in it. Really cannot wait for the 27th of September. Really gonna play that game. Really fun game, so cannot wait for that. Unfortunately, if you listen to the Japanese direct, for some reason you would have noticed that in that direct they announced Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 will also be released. With Dragon Quest 11, you'll be able to purchase them on the eShop. I believe the first game will be free for those that purchase the game on day one or something like that. So the prices were there. The prices were pretty decent. Jared told me that these were the mobile versions and not the Super NES versions, which a bit disappointing, but they're better than what we're getting, which seems to be nothing. What we're getting is the Champions pack, which is, I believe, seeds and like costumes and stuff like that. So it's a neat little kitty, but it's not Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. So that was a bit disappointing, and this seems to indicate that we won't be getting these games for some reason, unfortunately, which have no idea why, but c'est la vie. Okay, next we got the announcement that Tokyo Mirage Sessions hashtag, I don't know if it's a hashtag or cross F Fire Emblem, but it's a hashtag FE Encore would be released on January 17th for the Switch. So I have mixed feelings on this. Like I've said earlier in the year, when they announced the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, I think it released for the Switch in January, at the end of January, I wasn't really overblown by that fact, but the game did manage to sell like 3 or 4 million copies. So like Nintendo really should not listen to me when it comes to that stuff. But it's just like, for me, I'm just tired of Wii U ports, just tired of them. And this is a game, in my opinion, that really did not need a Wii U port. I've played the game. It's really fun, don't get me wrong. It's a kind of a Wii U hidden gem, but at this point, it just looks that every single Wii U game will make it to the Switch, and it saddens me as a Wii U fan, because at the end of it, when we will be looking back at the Wii U in 5 or 10 years, there's just nothing special about it anymore. There's no reason to get it, because every single game, every single exclusive on it will be on the Switch. Like I think right now they're only missing Super Mario 3D World and that Platinum game. I forget the name of it for some reason right now, but it will get back to me eventually. But those are the only games missing, and of course there's other small games like Game & Warrior and Nintendo Land. But I don't know. I don't think this. I guess you can make the argument that it will bring the game to a broader audience, and it will give the game a chance to shine, and it will. But I don't think this is a game that will sell that well, because I've played the game. I really adored the battle system, but the story is extremely Japanese and extremely monotone. Like it put me to sleep, and it's the reason why I stopped playing the game, simply because there was way, like Fire Emblem Three Houses right now, there was way too much useless stuff you needed to do in between missions. Like I loved when they sent you in dungeons and the dungeon crawling elements. I love that. The battles were awesome, but just the repetitive fetch quests that were just boring with a story that is not that interesting. I don't know. I would have loved it if they would have kept this on the Wii U, but whatever. More people will play it, so I'm sure the sales will prove me wrong. This will probably outsell the Wii U version easily. So there you go, and it gives them a January release, and seems like from all the games they announced, they have pretty much 1, 2, sometimes 3 and 4 solid games every month now, all the way to like March, so good on them. Next up, we had more Pokemon Sword and Shield stuff. They announced 4 new things they did not talk about, 4 new additions. The first one was the option to customize your clothing, which might not seem that exciting. It probably isn't, but for me and for most Pokemon fans, we always loved that because we had that option in Pokemon X and Y, and then it was taken away from us in Pokemon Auras, only to return in Sun and Moon. So I'm glad to see it's here now, but there's a lot, and I mean a lot more options in this one. It seems like you can customize every single piece of clothing, from gloves and hats and socks, and like there's in the other ones you could only like change shirts and pants and sometimes shoes and stuff like that. In here you can customize everything, so that'll be fun. I know I really enjoyed that in Pokemon, because then you can feel a bit more special or unique when you play the game online and you see your friends and they see how you look and stuff like that. The next 2 I did not understand why. Pokemon always does this though. They always showcase boring little options, like the camping and the curry making stuff. I'm sure they're neat little features, but they're not features you should dedicate 2 entire minutes to in a video. They're not. It's like when they concentrated it so much on the photos in Ultra Sun and Moon and the photographs and whatnot. Like the majority of people who played Ultra Sun and Moon did not use that feature at all. It's not a selling point, and I don't understand why they do this. Especially, it might be in Japan a bit more, but have separate trailers. You always have separate trailers. The Japanese trailer is always like a minute longer than the North American one, so I don't know why they concentrated on that. So camping, it's just like basically Pokemon Ami, but now you can have more Pokemon in it, and you can like pet them and stuff like that, play with them. So it's basically like Tomogachi or something like that. And you can I think you can visit your friend's camp and play with their Pokemon and whatever. I'm sure it'll be fun to do, but it's just not the reason I watch Pokemon trailers. The next stuff was curry making, which is a cooking minigame. And that's pretty much what it is. And they were saying that you could make 100 different curry, and it's unclear what those will do. If this is the new method to EV train your Pokemon, maybe that's it, because I'm not sure if you will be able to go to Pokemon Pelago or something like that to EV train your Pokemon quickly, or whatever the case may be, have the Festival Plaza return, which I hope it doesn't, but if that way it had the advantage of making you fast EV train your Pokemon like in like seconds. So I hope they have an alternative for that. But the biggest announcement for me was the 2 new Pokemon. They announced Polteageist, which is a ghost Pokemon, and it looks like a teapot, and its ability was weak armor. I believe weak armor is an ability that if someone hits you with a move that is super effective against you, your speed boost, or you get a random speed stat boost. I'm not sure. I forgot to look this up, but I believe that's what it does. Then we got Cramorant, which is a flying water Pokemon. It's actually a blue bird, so it looked pretty cool. That one I was interested in, and it has a brand new ability never released before called Gulp Missile, and it's pretty cool. It's basically when Cramorant use surf or dive, when it finishes the move, you'll see that it has a fish in its mouth now. And what that does is if you get an attack, if your opponent attacks you on that turn, you'll actually spit out that fish to the opponent and get some nice damage on it. So this does have the potential to be an ability that's a bit overpowered, especially if Cramorant has decent speed and attacks always first. So this is pretty cool, though. Can't wait to see much of that. So Pokemon Sword and Shield, I believe it's on the 15th of November, so more than 2 months away still, but cannot wait for this game. All right. Next, I believe this was the biggest news of the Direct, at least for me it was, and I don't think anybody predicted this. I did not see any rumors related to this. This caught me totally off guard, and maybe we should have thought about it because they mentioned that it was 1 year ago that they launched the Nintendo Switch Online. But still, this really caught me off guard, and I was really pleased with all these announcements because this is something I talked about when I first spoke about the Nintendo Switch Online app when I downloaded it, because I thought that it was a decent offering for $20 a year. You would get like NES games for free and stuff like that. But I said I hope that one day they release other tiers with SNES games and eventually maybe N64 and Game Boy and stuff like that. But the thing is, this is not a new tier. This is included with your current online membership. So anybody that's the $20 now not only include NES games, but they also include SNES games. The announcement, which of course that this SNES Switch Online app was going to be released, and it should be released soon. They said it would be released today on the 5th, and I believe in Europe it's released tomorrow on the 6th. So by the time you hear this, it will be out. And it's pretty amazing because the library of games that are released on day one is just ridiculous. This has got to be the best bang for your buck, or whatever the expression is, if you consider that for $20 a year you get all those NES games, which granted NES games for me don't do it anymore. Really, they don't do much. I've barely played that app. I know some have played it more than others, but I just really can't get excited too much about NES games besides Contra, and I believe that wasn't in there since it's on the Contra collections. But this has almost everything you need right from the go. The big three, Zelda, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, and Super Mario World, are available from day one. So it's just ridiculous to me. And I have the full launch lineup right here, so I'm going to read them to you, all 20 games. So A Link to the Past, Super Mario World, and Super Metroid I've already noticed. But you also get Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Kart, Demon's Crest, Star Fox, Super Tennis, F-Zero, Super Goals and Ghosts, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Pilot Wings, Kirby's Dream Course, Joy and Mac. I don't remember how I wrote this. Joy and Mac something Tropics. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not familiar with that game. Then we have Brawl Brothers, Super Puyo Puyo 2, which I believe was never released here, but I could be wrong. Super Soccer, Breath of Fire, Super Earth Defense Force. And a few of those games have never been re-released since their SNES days, so that's pretty cool. I'm actually pretty hyped to try out Breath of Fire because Dragon Quest XI has put me in a JRPG mood. I've never actually played the original Breath of Fire, so I'm sure I will not like it much because it's probably very grindy and very old school. But I'll give it a try. It's free, so why not? This is pretty cool. So like I said, there's tons of awesome games in there. Super Mario World, I cannot wait to replay. I played the heck out of that game when it was released on the Wii U Virtual Console, and now I have it on my Switch. A Link to the Past. Jared said he would stream it. He said he would even play it tonight. I doubt it. But yeah, Jared said he will stream that game. But when Jared says something, he usually doesn't actually deliver on it. So I would hold out for that, guys. But it's cool that we're going to be able to play A Link to the Past on your Switch, which is something we've wanted from day one. Now it's happening. Super Metroid, of course. Who doesn't love Super Metroid? Mario Kart, that's awesome. Demon's Crest is another one of Jared's favorite. I haven't tried it yet, so maybe I will. Another one that stands out for me, Kirby's Dream Course. Actually underrated Kirby game in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really hyped for this. They're gonna release even more games in the future. I would really want to see Final Fantasy 3 or 6, whatever you want to call it, because I've played it on my SNES Classic for 4 hours. It was awesome. So I would love to have the option to play it on the go and get back to it, because it was really well done. And of course, games like Chrono Trigger hopefully will come to that. Although if I'm Square, I don't know why I would just give those to Nintendo to put on that, because I don't think the amount of dollars Nintendo pays for these makes up for how many copies you could actually sell if you would release them on the eShop. So who knows what they will do, but this was kick-ass announcement. So as soon as I'm done recording, I'm actually going to go back to my Switch and check if they've updated the eShop and if the SNES app is on there, because I can't wait to try these out. Okay, the next game they talked about, at least that I have written down I want to talk about, is Animal Crossing New Horizons, which just looks absolutely sick. I cannot wait to play this. I believe it release date is March 20, 2020. Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be next year, but cannot wait to play this. It's actually a blessing that it's not coming out this year, because this year is just crazy with everything that's been released. I still have not played Dragon Quest Builders 2, even though I have it and I've been dying to play, because I want to finish Fire Emblem, and then when Fire Emblem is out, Zelda and DQ will be released between 1 week of each other. And then I have Luigi's Mansion and Little Town Hero to look forward to in October. And then November, it's Pokemon, which should hold my attention for all the way till Animal Crossing releases. So if Animal Crossing would have been released this year like it was supposed to, it would have just been too much. So I'm glad it's getting released. But they showed a lot more in this. So basically, there was some recapping, but still it was nice to see again. So you will start in a tent. But they did not confirm this, but from the way you saw things, it looks like it will be like the Animal Crossing, where your tent can be fully upgradable to a house, and then you'll get more. You can build probably like an upstairs and a downstairs, like that. Because we saw the character go into a villager's house, and you see they all have tents, but eventually it looks like it's houses, and you see houses. So it looks to me that you'll be able to upgrade your stuff. There seems to be a ton of new features. Like they showed the villager cross a river by using a new item called a pole, which is kick-ass, because I remember one of the things I love about Animal Crossing New Leaf was that you were the mayor of that town, and I think you could build 1 or 2 bridge eventually, and you had to be like kind of strategic, because you needed to use those bridges to cross water. So you had to be strategic where you placed, so you didn't want to place them at a spot where you really did not, because it could save you time. But now you'll be able to carry a pole with you and traverse those rivers, cross those rivers at any occasion without needing to walk all the way to a bridge, which is pretty neat. You'll also be able to craft all your items, all your tools. It looks like from day one, so you'll probably need to gather some resources, but that's okay. At least that way you won't need to wait days or weeks to get all the items, because in the Animal Crossing you needed to buy like the fishing line and the axe or the shovel from the store, and the store would only sell one a day, and sometimes you would buy the shovel and the next day the shovel will still be on sale, so you'd have to wait days till you get all the tools. But this is pretty cool. I love the fact that there seems to be some kind of achievement system. So depending on what you do, you get rewards. So let's say they want you to catch 10 bugs. Then when you catch 10 bugs, you get a reward. So there's tons of stuff. This is a game I invested I think 400 hours or 300 hours on the 3DS. And there seems to be way more content in this one. You'll be able to play, visit other people's towns or deserted islands in this case, and there'll be up to 8 people who could play on the same via online play, which is nice. They confirmed that the game was online, which was a no-brainer, but it was nice to hear the confirmation. I still not sure if there will be stores. I know you can buy stuff from Tom Nook's children, but like most of the stuff you could buy seems to be stuff you can craft. So I'm not sure how useful that will be. I want and I hope there are stores and upgradable stores like in those other games. The main like store that you would buy stuff, if the more you bought stuff, eventually it would upgrade itself, and it had opening and closing hours, which I really want this to do. I liked it when I played Animal Crossing at night, or even during like at 2 a.m. that I could not have access to the store. I want stuff like that because it really makes you feel like you're living in this simulation, and it's more fun that way when you don't have access to everything at all times. And I remember Jared and I would go just before the one of the store closes at 11. We would go on a fishing spree, and we would just like at 10:59 enter the store at the last minute to sell all our fish and get our loot. So I hope that's still something that happens in this game, but we'll see. Fossils were also confirmed because you could see at the end the villager dig up her fossils. So that's probably means that the museum is back, which is always a fun thing to do. It's always fun to complete your fossil collections and try to complete your bug and fish collection, which I've never been able to do actually, because fish and bugs are all season based, so you would have to play the game for a whole year to finally have access to all the bugs and the fish. Although this will be the first Animal Crossing that will support, I believe, the southern hemisphere, if I recall, where in the southern hemisphere the seasons are reversed, if I recall, or something like that. So I believe that if you have friends that live in the southern hemisphere and you visit their deserted islands, you could actually probably get fish and bugs off season. So we'll see, maybe that will be an option. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now for Animal Crossing. Like I said, this game looks absolutely sick. I cannot wait to play it. But yeah, Nintendo has another killer app in their hands, because the last Animal Crossing on 2DS sold like 13 million copies. I cannot imagine this doing less than that. So we shall see. And they ended the Direct with one last announcement, which I thought was the weakest ending ever, anticlimactic ending ender to a Direct. They usually save a huge announcement at the end, and for me this was extremely disappointing. The whole Direct as a whole was fantastic, but I do not know why they ended that with that. If I would have been dead, I would have ended with the Animal Crossing trailer, because this to me is ridiculous. And I know there are many Xenoblade Chronicles fans out there, and I have nothing against that series, but this is not even a new game, or it's not even Xenoblade Chronicles X, the Wii U port. Like, even though I hate Wii U port, this would have made more sense. This is actually the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is a game that has already been ported once to the new 3DS. It's 12, 13, 10-year-old game that's been released on the original Wii. It's getting a Definitive Edition, believe, HD remake for the Switch. Like, I was so underwhelmed by that announcement. It's not even funny. Like, I don't know why they ended with that. But I don't know. I'm not a Xenoblade Chronicles fan. I know Jared is, Ahmed is. So let me know. What did you think of this? Is it a game you're going to be excited to revisit again? Some of you might have played it twice on the Wii and on the 3DS. Is it really that important to get another version of this on the Switch? Let me know. I thought if they were going to port a game, they should have probably done the Wii U port, because that one would have made a lot more sense, but that's what happened. Okay, so that was it for the Nintendo Direct. Like I said, really, really nice Nintendo Direct. Lots of surprises. The SNES, for me, stole the show. Cannot wait to play those games. Really, really love the Animal Crossing trailer. Really can't wait for that. Pokemon, like I said, I love the two new Pokemon announced. I wish they did not concentrate so much on the camping and curry making, but what can you do? I'm a bit disappointed we're not going to get Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. I don't know why, because this seems like if Square Enix really wants to push this series, this seems like a no-brainer, because you can't lose money by releasing these games on the eShop. You're just going to make money, in my opinion. I don't know why. I know Nintendo is publishing Dragon Quest 11 here, so maybe that's why they cannot do this, although they are available on mobile here. I just don't understand the reasoning why they're not re-releasing these games on the eShop. It seems like a very, very no-brainer situation to me, but what do I know? And Little Town Hero, like I said, this is coming out soon in just over a month, so I'll be checking that out. I cannot wait for that one. So that's it. Very, very awesome Nintendo Direct. Let me know what you guys thought. Were you as disappointing as me that they ended with Xenoblade Chronicles? Let me know. Okay, so pretty much time to wrap up here. I'm actually over 40 minutes, which is pretty decent. It's actually 4 times the amount that Tim would do on a solo podcast, so not bad. I'm going to end with a blast from the past, and I really wanted to challenge myself this week because Jared made fun of me last time because I think my blast from the past was Super Mario Maker, which is a Wii U game, so it's not really that far that's not really that far away, but I decided to up the echelon even more, so go with an even more recent released, a game that was released on January 18, 2018, which is Kirby Battle Royale. And I always like to have a theme when I choose my blast from the past, so it has to have something to do with a game mentioned earlier. And I did talk about Super Kirby Clash earlier, and it was announced during the Direct, so I thought, why not bring up Kirby Battle Royale, which probably, I believe, is one of the last 3DS games I actually played. The last one that I played, I think, was Yokai Watch 3, which as of this day is one of the last Nintendo official release, but I believe the last one is Kirby Epic Yarn, but I'll have to check back on that. But Kirby Battle Royale was a really fun game. I didn't expect much from that game. It didn't necessarily get rare reviews, but I played it from beginning to end, and it was just a blast. I think I beat it in like 2 or 3 settings. It's basically boss rooms, but it gets really challenging by the end of it, and it's just a fun game. If you have a 3DS, it's not expensive. I think you can get it for like $20 or $30 on the eShop. I really suggest giving out a look if you like Kirby games, if you like Smash Light games, and if you like battle royales and boss rooms and horde modes and stuff like that. It's a really fun game. It's on the 3DS. Check it out. So that's my blast from the past for Nintendo Fanboyz episode 59. And as I've said that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day, a great weekend, and a great upcoming week. And thanks for tuning in.